VLSos here. This is a video lesson on Numberline. A numberline is a graph. It's a visual presentation, but a numberline is a one-dimensional graph. And most people are familiar with the word graph referring to the two-dimensional graph where we have two number lines cross making a big X and consider that to be graphing. But using a number line is graphing also, but we're only graphing in one dimension. And all graphs are visual presentations or representations. Visual representation is a way of presenting math, presenting numbers visually. Most, but not all, people are fairly good at visualizing things in their mind, so visual representations of things are helpful for understanding. In a number line, we have a place that we mark as the origin and put the number 0. This separates the number line into two areas. To the right of 0, we have positive numbers. And to the left of the origin, we have negative numbers. This location of 0 we call the origin. It's a reference point. So if we put a tick mark and label this 1, it means that this location is 1 away from the origin. This mark here we call a tick mark, and this tick mark has been labeled with a 1. I could put other tick marks and label them. The distance between two numbers is called an interval. We could include fractions on our number line, but we don't have to label every place on the number line. That would be impossible because there's an infinite number of locations. So often when we create number lines, we only label a few tick marks for reference, 0 being probably the most important. And then we might include places on our number line that are important to the work that we're doing. I could make a tick mark and label this here at about -0.7. We use arrowheads on the two sides of our number line to suggest that this number line continues in these two directions forever. And if we continue in this direction, we continue going in the left direction or the negative direction. And if we continue in this direction, we call this to the right. And we can use the symbol plus to mean the positive direction. And this is something that is true about a number line. At any position, numbers to the right are greater. This concept of being greater is very useful. Anywhere that I could be on this number line, like if I was considering the location -1, then that means that everything to the right of -1 is greater than -1. All the numbers that could be listed. At any position, numbers to the left are less or lesser. So if I was at the position 2, numbers to the left or in the left direction are less than 2. A number line orders the numbers that we use. And of course we have symbols to mean these concepts that we use. This symbol is the symbol greater or greater than, and the symbol for less than. These are comparison symbols. They compare left and right. We also call them inequality symbols. The operation of adding, we can think of on a number line as a move to the right. If I was at -1 and I added to -1, I would move to the right. Subtracting moves to the left. If I was at 2, I could show subtraction by moving from 2 to the left. A couple examples. We could be given the instruction, start at 1, move right 2. This is using language to describe a change in quantity. If we start at 1 and we move to the right by 2, we can use the number line to track where we will be. I can think of this language as describing the problem starting at 1 and moving to the right as addition by 2. And where we will be is equal to 3, or at the location 3. Another example, we could think of the problem 2 minus 4 is equal to -2. Using the number line, we start at 2, and then move left because we're subtracting by 4. Many of us could do this in our head, but we can use a number line to visualize and track the answer to this problem. We start at 2, we move left by 1, 2, 3, 4, and where we end up is at -2. What happens if we subtract a negative? In other words, what if we were at 1 and we subtracted a negative number 2? We would start at 1, but we're going to move to the left by a number that's negative, so we're going to change direction and move to the right instead. Another way of thinking of this is subtracting a negative is the same thing as going to the right, which means it's addition. Subtracting a negative is the same thing as addition, and when we do our math, it's customary to change subtracting and a negative into addition before then finding the answer.